If you're new to matcha, it can be a little bit scary to make a traditional bowl of matcha. You know, the one that has that nice foam on top. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that pretty easily at home. We just have a few tools that you're going to need. And frankly, if you're interested in matcha, these are really good and cheap tools to have on hand. So let me go through them. First, we're gonna have our Chasen or our Matcha Whisk. We're also going to need a strainer. This is a scoop called a Chashaku. This helps us scoop the matcha into our bowl. We have a matcha bowl, and you really can just use any bowl at home. Doesn't have to be a specific matcha bowl. We have a Chasen, which is our tea towel, and of course our matcha. This is the Ooika matcha, which we fresh grind here in America. So we're gonna make our matcha right now. This is Usucha, which is a thin tea. It's the one you think about when you think about matcha most of the time. So the first thing we're gonna do is warm our bowl. So I have some boiling water. We're going to pour it into our bowl here. If we don't do this, when we make our matcha, the matcha will be too cold. And we also want to hydrate the bamboo whisk. Otherwise, it will break on us. So we'll just get that whisked up a little bit, just so it hydrates this. We'll set it aside. And then we can just pour this away and dry the inside using our tea towel. Now our bowl is dry, let's go ahead and get our matcha ready. Now I'm going to be using a strainer. This strainer helps break up all the clumps. If you ever had matcha and you try making it at home and you find that it clumps up at the bottom, the strainer can really help with that. You don't need it, but it is an advantage to have. Now we'll get our matcha. We want 2 grams. There we go. If you try making matcha at home and you find that it's not foaming enough, it could be that you don't have enough matcha powder in there. Or it might mean you have too much water, because it's all about the water to tea ratio. Okay, we can set these aside. We're done with them. So now you can see we have our matcha bowl right here. Now it's time to do the water. Now this water is boiling hot. We don't want to put boiling water into the matcha, otherwise we'll scald it. It'll be really bitter. So what I'm going to do is just use a second glass here. It doesn't have to be a pitcher like this, it can be any glass, and just use that to lightly cool down the water till it's about 70, 80 degrees Celsius. You'll know that when you feel it and it doesn't burn you right away. When you can put your hand on it and keep it there for a few seconds before it starts to get uncomfortable, that's the right temperature. So I'm just gonna let this cool down a little bit. And once I find that it's about ready, then we can go ahead and pour it in. As far as the amount, we're gonna put in about 60 milliliters. So there we go, it's about 60. Now we take our whisk and we're going to just gently agitate the bottom. We want to start mixing it all into a slurry. So now it's a slurry, we can start doing our famous whisking. Now the whisking motion is back and forth, and you can see my wrist stays kind of limp and relaxed. We don't want to strengthen up. It'll start to hurt you. So we're going to keep it really loose and just go back and forth. And while I'm whisking, the other thing is I don't want to be grinding the bottom of the bowl. In fact, the whisk is not even touching the bottom of the bowl right now. So just going back and forth. You want to do this about 100 times, which takes about 20 seconds. There we go, that's a really nice froth. You can see how beautiful that looks. And the other thing I can do is if there's big bubbles at the top, then when you're done whisking, you can just raise the whisk up so you're barely agitating just the top surface, and that'll pop any remaining bubbles at the top. So look at that. That is a perfectly whisked bowl of matcha, extremely creamy and nice on top. Beautiful. Anyone would be happy to serve this. And you can see just how easy this is. It takes only about 30 seconds. You just need water, whisk, and a scoop. In fact, if you don't have some of these tools, well, like a strainer, you don't need it. If you don't have a scoop, you can just use a spoon. If you don't have a matcha bowl, any bowl does fine. Part of the reason that we like whisking it is because that foam on top makes it really creamy and smooth. It aerates it and tones down the astringency and the bitterness. One of the reasons why I love whisked matcha so much. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of your matcha journey. I'll talk to you guys next time.